Mortar has always been a relevant and viable card in Clash Royale, and it has a higher usage rate since its release of Evolution. Even the meta shifts with the addition of new cards, balance changes. Mortar decks always seem to find a place in the meta. It is also being used frequently in the competitive scene. Obviously, there are different variations of Mortar bait, which is popular across every meta as well as the classic Mortar deck. In this video we'll be going over tips and tricks on how to dominate with Mortar. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. Number 1. Placement. With different Mortar positions, you can use it offensively, defensively, or you could also mortar the bridge can attack while defending. Placement is key when playing against different wind conditions. This is the optimal placement for offense, while for defense, this is the optimal placement. However, if your opponent plays a tank like Golem and Goblin Giant at the corner, you can place it same lane if you want to be safe. Against Royal Giant, use this placement. Against Balloon, use this placement, one tile to the side of the normal placement. This is to ensure that the balloon can always be pulled if it is placed to the side, even if it is aided by troops to push it further. Number 2. Synergy with the tornado. I would call it as NATO trick. Basically, there are 3 effective ways to succeed in making Mortar connection with NATO trick. Firstly, pull troops out of the Mortar range. This is the most commonly known way if you play Mortar Cycle. You will need to make prediction play for this sometimes. Next up, we can also pull troops into the blind zone of Mortar, so that the Mortar will lock on to the tower. Lastly, pull troops into tower range so that the Mortar would splash the tower and the troops at the same time. Or simply NATO the troops altogether, and the Mortar will splash to all of them. This Mortar and NATO combo is especially helpful to take out those range units behind the tanks. Number 3. If opponent places Tesla right at the bridge, you can place the Mortar one tile higher than usual. Mortar will target the tower instead. Number 4. Against Sparky. There is an anti-Sparky placement for Mortar. This is just assuming that you don't have rocket in hand or you're playing Mortar bait, otherwise just rocket it for an even elixir trade. Just place your Mortar in the middle, same lane as Sparky, one tile lower than usual. Shout out to Prob for the tip. Number 5. Mortar, just like Expal, both belongs to the Siege archetype. The Mortar will target the Princess Tower, at the instance when some cards jump across the river. For example, Prince, Dark Prince, Ram Rider, Royal Hogs, Hog Rider. This situation usually will catch your opponent off guard and get unexpected Mortar lock. Number 6. Memorizing spell damage. Have you ever lost games just because you're unsure how much the spell does where you lose by 50 HP or even less than 10 HP? That's when it comes into play. If you had an idea of how much does the spells do, you wouldn't mess up during the match. For instance, a level 15 rocket does 540 damage. Log does 59. Tornado does 38. All of them combined is a total of 637 damage, and 2 level 15 rockets do 1080 damage. So on and so forth, and if opponents tower down to certain HP, you can start spell cycling on double or triple elixir depending on the situation. Number 7. Spell cycle. Now, specifically for Mortar cycle, you could utilize the quick cycle to cycle back to your spell. For example, you place a rocket, and then just play 4 cycle cards to quickly get back to rocket. If you want to be safe, set up a defensive Mortar before sending naked rocket. As important as it is to use Mortar correctly, it is equally important to know how to counter it. In this section we'll be going over how to counter Mortar. Number 8. Avoid placing troops too near to the Mortar. I have seen a lot of players made this mistake, Instead, place your troop a distance from the mortar, so that it wouldn't go into the blind range. Number 9. King Tower Activation. If your opponent places mortar in the middle, you could activate King Tower with skellies or goblins if you time it correctly. Just place the card and let go your hand when it reaches 3/4 of the mortar deploy time. This is not easy to get it done, and you need some practice for it. Number 10. Distracting the mortar. Generally, mortar or siege players like to predict with cannon cart, knight, or whatever right after they place mortar at the bridge. Therefore, there's a chance of getting predicted if you place buildings such as cannon and bomb tower to counter the mortar. You can distract the mortar by placing cheap cycle cards such as skeletons, ice spirit, etc., or even a tank. Then you'll see you're gonna either use range cards to snipe it or use spell to take out the mortar. So there you go. That is all for this video. These are my 10 tips on using and countering mortar. The best way to master a deck is to keep practicing, and you'll figure out and get better along the way. If you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe. It's Rumi Clash Royale, right? Signing off, see you guys next time.